Welcome back to the rabbit's chair. So last week we had a bit of an introduction to one of the horses and started to move some more of the bigger stuff around the carousel and managed to seed the chair. This week we're going to look at another one of the horses and we'll explain a bit about why as we go through the week. We're also going to have a look at one of the artists within the Carousel Collective. Because she probably thinks that we've missed a really important birthday, but really we've held on for this. So, happy birthday. We're also going to have a look at a new toy that Ed, Ben and I have bought for Sally. And she's wanted one of these for a long time. And it ties in with a lot of the training that she's been doing. So we'll have a quick look at that as well. So yeah, we've also got one final tractor to move from the carousel. So we'll have a look at moving that and see what else we can get done. But the weather, it's supposed to be really bad this week, so that might hold us up a bit. So anyway, let's see what happens. Let's see what we get done.
This is what Ben's turn is when he gets home.
He's got a new job.
He's got a new job when he gets home.
We saw a bit of this horse last week when Sally and Ed went out for a ride. But this one is one that we've bred, so it's one of our foals, and she's a Dales mare. And she's due to go to the stallion, and we've tried her before, and she didn't take. So she's having to come back for the farm for some medication. To see whether we can get her ready to go and see the stallion in the next week or so, and hopefully by the end of this week we'll have some indication of whether we can make the visit to the stallion. So yeah, so we're going to take her in and give her some medication, get her ready. So she's a bit of a kind of silly old mare, this one, and likes to just walk through things and likes to eat. So we'll put her in her stable and go and sort a corn out with the medication. So we'll come back, see whether she takes some medicine later on. Now let's have a look at this artist. A few years ago, an artist heard about us through Supermarket Art Fair and contacted us to come and do a residency. That artist was Zaza. She came along and immersed herself into the local life, visiting Chesterfield, and spent a lot of time working with us on a film and developing some artwork to take to Sluice Art Fair. So we presented the work at Sluice Art Fair, where we had a series of games, a huge installation of artwork, and some films, particularly the Peep Show film, where she played the bearded lady. And perform the bearded lady at Sluice.
Oh, it's slapping my face.
So we'll catch up with our work with Zaza a little bit later on. Now we'll move the final large piece out of the carousel. So that's the final large thing to go from the carousel. And over time, we'll be working on those and getting them running again and trying to use them. Now we'll go back to see about this medicine. Let's see whether she takes it.
So she's got some fluid which is in the way of her becoming pregnant. So I've got to give her an antibiotic, which she's had, I think, twice before, and it seems to be getting less of fluid, but she's got another course of antibiotics to have, and she doesn't like the taste of it. So she's managing at the moment. I've just given her more chop and hitting it in carrots. Fingers crossed. But she don't want to get up for it because it's like a nice rest on the field, isn't it, Poppy, darling? Yes, it is.
Well, with this one, we don't normally have any problems with feeding medication or wormer or anything like that. She usually accepts them quite readily, but this medicine she's on at the moment isn't quite as nice as some of the other ones. So we're going to do a bit of an experiment because we don't really know what her preferences are with treats. So we have an experiment here. We have a plate with marmalade on some bread, orange juice, honey and Marmite. So we'll try the marmalade first. Marmalade's okay, quite like marmalade. We'll go now for apple juice. Oh yeah, we'll go for apple juice next. Yeah, we quite like apple juice. Honey, as it's turning out, doesn't matter what it is really.
No preference.
No preference at all. Let's try Marmite.
Apart from the medicine.
And we'll even have Marmite. Oh no, Marmite's not quite as...
I was good to not give that one last because I thought she might.
Yeah, Marmite's not quite as good, so she's not a big Marmite lover. So, what do you think we'll try her with the medicine? Any of them, any of the above. She just likes anything as long as it's not the medicine.
But she's eating the medicine in the end.
But she's finally eaten the medicine. She ate around it, but she ate it in the end. But at least we can try something with her, and we know it's not that's putting her off when we try her with the medicine. So we'll see how it works tomorrow. So that's good to know. She'll eat just about anything, really. Let's go back and see some of the other work that we've done with Zaza. And yeah, let's go have a look.
In your face.
We later invited Zaza to work with us in Berlin on a project for another Sluice Art Fair in Berlin. So we spent a week in Berlin with some other members of the group. You can see Edward's around, and created quite a nice film. So we spent a lot of time touring around Berlin and filming, really creating the nice film. And we'll put links to the film at some point in the rest of the YouTube. So that's a nice bit of footage of us in Berlin and our extended involvement with Zaza. So it's been threatening all week, and it came. After all of that rain and the weather we've had this week, our nettles are well and truly growing. So in a little while I'm going to come down, collect all the nettles, and I think we have a plan to make some nettle beer. So hopefully that'll be ready by the summer. So plenty of nettles growing around here for some beer. The chairs not really growing very much yet, but the forget-me-nots have managed to establish themselves quite nicely. So yeah, let's go and get a bag and collect these nettles. So yeah, it's been pretty relentless all week. It's kind of slowed us down doing any extra work in the carousel. We'll come and collect some nettles later. So now let's go and have a look at this special thing that Ben, Ed and myself have got for Sally, and some of the work that she's got to do. So this is Sally's four-wheel carriage that Ben, Ed and I have bought for her for sort of birthdays and Christmases that we've missed. And she's always wanted one of these. So we saw one come up and we thought it'd be nice to get one. So she's now training Poppy, who's the horse that we're going to be taking away to the stallion. So she's now training Poppy to work in the cart.
Good girl, walk on. Stand.
So she seems to enjoy that. She's taken to the harness quite well. We'll try with the carriage sometime soon. Now we're going to go back to Zaza and we're going to go over to Stockholm to the supermarket art fair. So from Berlin, we also worked with Zaza in the next supermarket. So Zaza came along with us and performed the extension of the Infinite Tea Party, which was the film from Berlin. And we worked the Infinite Tea Party around supermarket and performed in the performance space at supermarket and continued working from there. So it's a really enjoyable event, and yeah, it was good to work with Zaza again. Let's go and see whether Poppy's got any news about whether her medication's been working and whether we can actually go and take her to the stallion. So we're up in the field and it's the final day of giving her this medication, and it's working so far. So we had the vet out the other day and she's given us the all clear to go to the stallion. So later this week we're going to go and take her to see what happens at the stallion, and we'll probably have a little bit about that in a future week. So yeah, it's all good. We've managed to get her to eat the medication all week with a little bit of what's in it?
Apple sauce, but I have run out today, so she's got a little bit of lemon curd in it. But
So,
she didn't seem to be too fussy, did she?
The preference this week, we went out and got some apple sauce because she liked the apple juice. So yeah, today it's applesauce and marmalade in with the medication. But again, this is the final day of it, so hopefully it'll do its trick. And we'll find out more over the next few weeks. Well, that's good. So it means we've got to travel over to the stallion now, but at least we can go on to the next stage of things. Right, let's collect some nettles. Let's see whether we can collect enough to make some beer. Well, they were more than expected, so we should be able to make some beer with that quite soon, and we'll probably document it here, and at least it should be ready for the summer. So let's go back to work with Zaza. Let's see what we've been doing in lockdown. 10 drawing or painting.
Oh, that's a good one. Draw.
6. Toilet roll? Is that right?
I know this
Yeah.
one.
3 in the fridge. We need one more when, Zaza.
One.
So as we went into lockdown, Zaza had already spoken to us a few times about wanting to experiment with some film. So to get people together and to connect with the collective whilst we were in lockdown, Zaza and I started to work on an experiment for a film. We then started to work with the rest of the collective in a weekly meeting and instructions to create some short film footage. And then Zaza and I worked kind of pretty much through the night on several occasions, editing the footage, experimenting to see what we can do with it. And it's a project that's ongoing. So we're still experimenting with the footage and still editing it and still getting together regularly to continue with the edits. So from the early days of Zaza coming and working with us, we've kept in contact, we've kept working with her. And Zaza keeps coming up with ideas, regularly contributes with us, and it's really good fun. And so we thought we'd start our introduction to artists that we work with Zaza, because it's her birthday, and we didn't miss it, and because she's contributed an awful lot to what we do lately. So on with the next project. We've got some more things in the pipeline that we're working with Zaza on, so we'll see some more of her as we go along. So that project is still pretty much ongoing. We've got loads of footage and loads of editing needing to be done. So we'll keep posting those. We've got loads of ideas as well for where they'll be exhibited or how they'll be exhibited. And again, we'll keep you updated. So this week, we've managed to finally clear the carousel of all the large objects. So over the next few weeks, we'll be doing some more of the clearing, sorting the caravans out, and the general sort of getting it back to being an art space. This week we also looked at Poppy, the horse that's going to the stallion, and we might follow her journey to the stallion over next week, or we might come back to it in a few weeks' time, but we'll see how she's getting on. We'll look at some of the other artists over time as well. So we'll introduce a few other artists from the collective, those that have been on residency and that continue to work with us following their residency and what we've been getting up to. So it's all been good fun, if a little bit wet and wild this week. So join us next week on the Rabbit's Chair to see what we'll get up to then.